I'm here not by accident. I'm here because I wanted to see the inside. So I'm not asking for anyone's pity. Um, I'm here to figure out what's going on, to show the inside story of it, something that the mainstream media, the mainstream media just 2 months ago was saying that this was a conservative conspiracy hoax, right? Well, I'm standing in the physical manifestation of that fake news because, this is real. People are living through this right now, and it's terrible. Their personal liberties have been trampled on by Trudeau. They deserve better than this. They're being treated worse than prisoners. And they have to pay for it. It doesn't make any sense.
Sheila Gunn Reid for Rebel News here in Calgary, standing on the backside of the Acclaim Hotel because my friend and colleague Keean Bexte is on the 3rd floor, confined here because this is one of Justin Trudeau's forced quarantine facilities. It's a COVID jail, and Keean was taken here Sunday night, so yesterday, late afternoon, to start his forced mandatory quarantine. Keean just came back from Florida where he was on assignment for us here at Rebel News, but because Keean doesn't work for CBC and is a non-bailout journalist, he doesn't get the same sort of exemptions that Trudeau's pet journalists do to travel back and forth across the border. And so in the interest of journalism and transparency, Keean is inside this facility documenting life for at least the next 3 days, about how he came to be there and what it's like. And who knows, he might even meet some new friends amongst his fellow Canadian inmates. So I'm going to pop on the phone with Keean right now. We're going to do a bit of a Romeo and Juliet interview where, in this instance, I'm Romeo to Keean's Juliet. And he's going to let us know what his first night inside the COVID jail was all about. Okay, Keean, you are, I guess, starting your first full day in COVID hotel hell. Give us, I guess, the logistics of how you got into the Acclaim Hotel in Calgary. Like, were you taken by bus? Was the bus marked? I see that there's another bus here, and I don't know if that's also taking captives or what.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a long story because I went to the I obviously landed at the airport, but then I refused the tests that they wanted to take on me. There's a law that allows me to say, no, I don't want an object being put in my body. And I think that's reasonable. I get to decide if Justin Trudeau wants to put something in my mouth. I get to say no to that. I think that's my own right. And the law even says so. So I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And that threw the whole process for a loop. Everything sort of collapsed. The public health officers, they just sort of left. They were very upset that I wanted to call my lawyer. And then I was just left alone at the hotel.
Not do the test?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
That's your prerogative. We put it out to local law enforcement to see if they're going to take any action for non-compliance. That we put that in their hands.
Sure.
All we do is just then flag you as being non-compliant with the current laws that are in place, but we are in no way able to force anything like you said that's into your body. So if you are non-compliant, then we do have to flag you up.
Well, would I be able to call my lawyer then before we make a determination?
I will not be speaking with your lawyer.
No, I'm calling my lawyer.
Okay.
And then eventually I was just like, well, can I just go to the hotel myself? So I got my car, checked into the hotel, and now here I am.
Weird. Now, this is a newer hotel. It's not as terrible as some of the other hotels that we've seen, particularly in Montreal. This seems like it's a nice hotel, but there are other guests at the hotel, right? Like, it's not a complete quarantine facility.
Yeah, there's people, there's regular guests, they call them here. The hot tub is open. I actually asked the guy who checked me in, hey, could I use the hot tub, thinking that it would just be closed down, but no, there's other people here. So I can't go to the hot tub?
No. But you get 4 fresh air breaks.
Four fresh air breaks?
Yes.
Four
so
fresh air breaks.
Just call the front desk and schedule a time with them.
Per day?
Per day, yeah.
Justin Trudeau's acting like we're these really risky people, right? That we have something akin to Ebola, and we need to be treated basically like prisoners to protect the Canadian society. That's obviously a lie, because the way they're treating me here is like I'm just sort of a regular hotel guest, but with conditions. You have to eat really crappy food, and you're not allowed to leave. And if you do want to leave, you have to be escorted. You might have seen that guy he was walking his dog. We're given 4 fresh air breaks a day. It would have been safer for me to go back to my own home. I wouldn't have seen anyone. I wouldn't have been close to someone taking my test. I was close to like 6 people when they were taking my tests, when they wanted to, and I was refusing. I was close to other people when I was coming into the hotel. I was actually in an elevator with one of the hotel managers who showed me into my room. He walked into my room with me, said, "This is, what's up, here's the deal," and then he left. But I wouldn't have been in any elevator with anyone if I just went back to my own home.
Now, is there signage inside that indicates that this is a COVID facility? I guess my question is, are the other guests unsuspecting? Because looking at you as we do this interview, to the left and to the right of you, there were people who were trying to get my attention, clearly indicating that they are also captives like you are. And I guess maybe the entire 3rd floor might be the quarantine floor. I'm not sure, but is there signage inside that says?
Well, there's no signage on the floor. The only thing that would indicate that it's a quarantine hotel is that the entire floor is lined with these Rubbermaid containers that we're supposed to put garbage in, I guess, and they also put our food in it. So it's weird.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the food. It's Lent, so I'm fasting, so food is on my mind. Even terrible food. Tell me all about it.
I mean, there's a menu that you can order from, and I ordered the waffles and pancakes for this morning, and they came, and it was Eggo waffles and crepes. And the crepes sound fancy, but they're not. They were ice cold along with the Eggo waffles. It was the most disappointing thing I could possibly wake up to. You know that moment when you wake up and you realize that something terrible has happened. You realize the conditions you're living in, or whatever it is. I woke up and I'm like, oh crap, I'm in this quarantine hotel still. And then I get a knock on the door, and it's these ice cold waffles, courtesy of Justin Trudeau. Actually, not even courtesy of Justin Trudeau. I had to pay for this shit, right? I had to pay over. They're asking people for $2,000 in some cases for these hotels, and they're giving us food like we're prisoners. They treat prisoners better than this, right? Prisoners at least get their garbage food for free.
Yeah. And as I was driving around the hotel this morning, I noticed that you are attached to a pretty decent looking Italian restaurant. And the Italian restaurant is open, but you can't order directly from that. Like, say you wanted lasagna, you can't just call and say, I need some garlic toast and lasagna. That's a no-go, right?
I absolutely not.
So if you want to get off the 3rd floor, is that possible?
If I want one of my designated free times throughout the day, fresh air breaks, then I would be escorted by a security guard, and hopefully they don't sexually assault me, but I would get some fresh air.
So you get 3 times a day, like a prisoner, like you get time in the yard?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Time in the yard. And I can see right along the perimeter of this hotel, there's barbed wire fence. So yeah, they're working on orders. They sounded really nice here at the hotel because it's an actual hotel that is hoping that they get business in the future. So they're trying to protect their own reputation. But Justin Trudeau has laid out certain rules that they have to follow. And it appears that giving absolutely terrible food and restricting our freedoms as much as possible is pretty much rule number 1 and 2.
So how do you get out of here? How do we spring you from this, or how do you spring yourself? How does the clock run out on Keean Bexte stuck in COVID hell?
I'm expecting a call from a public health official here either today, tomorrow. I've booked 3 nights here at this COVID jail. And hopefully the public health calls me and says I'm free to go eventually. I don't know when that will be. I don't know how that will be or what conditions need to be met for that to happen. But I was told to wait for it, so we'll see.
And how much is this costing you? Because we've heard $2,000. We've heard other amounts. I think the $2,000 was designed to maybe scare people away from traveling. I'm not sure.
Well, it's in that order of magnitude. It's just about $1,000, all expenses included. Yeah, it's about $1,000. And then, of course, you know, we came. This was the purpose of it, right? Like I went down to Florida to document their vaccination program, but at the end of the day, what I wanted to see was the inside of these hotels. I'm here not by accident. I'm here because I wanted to see the inside. So I'm not asking for anyone's pity. I'm here to figure out what's going on, to show the inside story of it, something that the mainstream media, you know, the mainstream media just 2 months ago was saying that this was a conservative conspiracy hoax, right? Well, I'm standing in the physical manifestation of that fake news because, you know, this is real. People are living through this right now, and it's terrible. Their personal liberties have been trampled on by Trudeau. They deserve better than this. They're being treated worse than prisoners. And they have to pay for it. It doesn't make any sense.
Just going back to the cost of this, if you stayed on the first floor as a guest and the second floor as a guest or the fourth floor as a guest, I anticipate you'd probably spend somewhere in the realm of $175 a night. That's like the going rate of a 3-star Calgary hotel, but you're on the third floor, so you're paying in excess of $300 a night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very expensive. It's not cheap.
That's outrageous. Keean, I suppose thanks for turning yourself into a human crash test.
No problem.
How do people find the work that you're doing, support the work that you're doing? Because I think you are the first and only journalist that has been willing to do this to yourself.
Yeah, and nocovidjails.com is where sort of this whole story is unfolding, the whole process. I've been reached out to, and I'm not exaggerating when I say hundreds of people have reached out to me asking me about my situation, and many of them are going to have to go through this situation themselves. So we're providing not just, you know, accountability journalism to Justin Trudeau, but public interest journalism to people who are seriously concerned about their own well-being and what the process is going to be for them personally in the future when they come back to Canada. There's so many people that are interested in this because they're concerned about the security of their person. They're concerned about the financial issues when it comes to this. It's basically a fine. And we're here providing journalism for them. So that you can go check it out at nocovidjails.com.
Yeah, there's so many issues wrong with this entire COVID jail system. So there's the idea that we are confining completely innocent Canadian citizens to a hotel. Then there's the head tax aspect of it, the forced testing aspect of it. And I'm just really proud that you were brave enough to do this to yourself, because we have had reports that it is a dangerous thing. So Keean, please stay safe in there.
Yeah, I will for sure. Thank you, Sheila, for coming out.
If you'd like to support Keean's real journalism as the only journalist that is reporting from inside a COVID jail as a detainee in one of these COVID jails to experience the awful and unconstitutional detainment firsthand, just like thousands of other innocent Canadians, please go to nocovidjails.com. For Rebel News here at the Acclaim Hotel in Calgary, where my friend Keean Bexte is serving time without parole in a COVID jail, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. If you'd like to see all of Keean's reports from inside the COVID jail here behind me, please go to nocovidjails.com.